Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Macquarie's Postgraduate Careers in Focus. I'm Connor, and I'm a current student at Macquarie University, and this evening's focus is on the careers you can move into with the new Graduate Certificate of Financial Law. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the Macquarie University land, the Wallamadigal people of the Darug Nation, whose cultures and customs have nurtured and continue to nurture this land since the dreaming. We pay our respects to elders both past and present. I would like to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. As we allow some time for attendees to join us online, please note that this session is being recorded and will be shared with you after the event. If you have any questions throughout this session, please put them in the question and answer box below. We'll answer them during a live question and answer segment later. Now, we have such an insightful session planned for you today. We'll start off with exploring the careers a graduate certificate in financial integrity law can lead to, with Dr. Lise Barry, Dean of the School at Macquarie Law School, and Isabel Nicholas, the academic at Macquarie Law School. Now, we'll look at how to also apply key application and class dates, also followed by a live question and answer session. So please add that to the session box down below. So let's get started. Lise Barry has been the Dean of the Macquarie Law School since July 2022. With a background in mediation and youth justice conferencing, she joined the school in 2005. Dr. Barry has held various leadership roles, including Deputy Dean and Director of Education. Her research focuses on the intersection of law and ageing, particularly the rights and decision-making capacity of older Australians. Dr. Barry is also an active professional mediator and a member of several professional organisations, including the National Sports Tribunal and the New South Wales Community Justice Centre. Dr. Barry's contributions to legal education and her extensive research have significantly impacted the field, making her a respected leader and educator. Isabel Nicholas is also an esteemed academic at the Macquarie Law School, specialising in financial integrity, particularly anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing regulations. She is actively involved in teaching and research, contributing significantly to the field through her work on the intersection of financial crime and legal frameworks. Ms. Nicholas has published extensively on topics related to her financial integrity. Her notable works include contributions to the understanding of AML goals and legal privilege in Australia. She's also a key member of the Financial Integrity Hub at Macquarie University, where she collaborates on initiatives aimed at enhancing global compliance approaches to financial crime. Welcome, Lise and Isabel. It's an honour to have you here with us tonight. So, Lise, why don't we start with you? Why don't you tell us about the rapidly evolving, changing environments of the financial integrity sector?
Yeah, sure, Connor. So this course, the Graduate Certificate in Financial Integrity Law, it is based, as you say, around a real growth in this field. And within Macquarie Law School, our Financial Integrity Hub is really the leading Australian research centre on anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism finances. The obligation for identifying money laundering and counter-terrorism financing has been growing across the world, and Isabel can speak to some of those regulations in a moment. And so that obligation comes for big organisations also with a training obligation and a reporting obligation. So we've seen banks and financial institutions have had a lot of these reporting requirements already, but from 2026, the number of reporting entities in Australia will rise exponentially with the introduction of new legislation. And those reporting requirements will extend to more than 100,000 companies and institutions. And that includes law firms and real estate agents, anyone who's handling, as you can imagine, large amounts of money, as susceptible to money laundering and counter-terrorism financing are going to have these reporting obligations. I think if you went on to Seek tonight and you looked up risk and compliance, you'll get an idea about the number of employment opportunities there are. There is a real dearth of well-trained people with academic qualifications to fill these really vital roles in a growing sector.
Awesome. Thanks, Lise. If you can you just provide a quick background into what this course at Macquarie is?
Yeah, sure. So this is a part-time course, Connor. It consists of 4 units, and those units include the anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing unit, a course in corporate governance law. The Financial Integrity Action Unit is basically a work placement or research related unit where you put that theory into practice around a particular project. And then you can choose from one of 2 electives, either cybercrime and cyber policing, which comes from the School of Security Studies at Macquarie University, or in the School of Accounting, Fundamentals of Forensic Accounting. So you're getting that real depth of understanding about how money can be transferred illegally.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lise. Isabel, this might be a really good question for you. So students are kind of equipped in financial integrity. Where do we see graduates end up? Where could they end up?
Oh, thank you, Connor, for the question and the very kind introduction. And good evening to everyone on the line. I mean, this is a really exciting space in terms of career opportunities. It's really difficult to where to start. I mean, the reporting entity, so the regulated population, consists of our banks, financial institutions, casinos, pubs and clubs, and that's now going to be extended with these reforms coming in to lawyers, real estate agents, dealers in precious metals and stones, so jewelers, and a wide variety of entities and businesses. So whether or not that's a compliance role within those businesses, or perhaps a role externally, for example, at the regulator, AUSTRAC, which is the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Financing Financial Intelligence Unit in Australia. There are roles otherwise in training, in audit, and I guess a wide variety of risk and compliance roles within those institutions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Would you be able to give us some background into what the field looks like? What's happening in this area? You know, what is the Financial Integrity Hub for someone that might not have heard of it before?
Thanks, Connor. Yeah, and I mean, this is why I guess to start here, I'm really passionate about this field because financial crime or money laundering is inextricably linked to serious organized crime. So if you think about it this way, serious organized crime, it's profit oriented, and those criminals need to clean that money to make it appear legitimate and obfuscate the trail of those funds. Now, these criminals are becoming increasingly sophisticated in the ways that they're doing this. And Australia for some time has lagged behind in terms of the global standards in relation to regulation of entities and private organisations within Australia. So until mid next year, the regulations extended to banks, casinos, and virtual asset service providers, and that's going to be extended to professional service providers such as lawyers, as I mentioned, accountants, real estate agents, etc. And that's really to fill the gap. We're seeing a bit of a displacement effect where the criminals now know that the banks are monitoring this and the casinos are monitoring. And so where are they going to go? They go to get the assistance of these specialized people and ask for advice to, I guess, succeed in their, I guess, quest to clean the money. And so that's a bit of background. And these reforms, I mean, this is the most significant reform we're seeing in the anti-money laundering space since 2006. So it's an absolute overhaul of the regime with some really significant changes. And as I mentioned, one of those main changes being the expansion of regulation to 100,000 businesses. And to put that into perspective, AUSTRAC currently regulates 17,000 businesses. So that's a 6-fold increase in terms of the regulated population. And all those entities need help, they need talent, and they need qualified persons to help them in actually detecting suspicious activity. And that requires an investigative mindset and a curious mindset and an understanding of the ways in which criminals or the ways in which they clean the money and the methods that they use. And so that's really a big focus of this certificate.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isabel, for that background. Lise, kind of going on from this, it seems like the industry is asking for some really talented and trained individuals. What does our graduate certificate in financial integrity law equip the students with, and what skills do they develop? Do they just learn the theory behind it, or is it more practical?
No, I think it's both, Connor. And I think one of the important things about this course, because to be honest, there's a lot of training out in the market at the moment, but it's mostly in the form of short 1 or 2 hour workshops, hearing stories from people in the industry. What this course will give students is a deep understanding of the law. Without that understanding, you're not equipped to advise a bank or a financial institution about where the risks are. And that's really why you need that real depth. That's what a graduate certificate will give you that short courses won't. So I think you can see with the choice of electives, you get the legal understanding of specifically about anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism finance. You learn the laws of corporate governance. You get to put that in practice with financial integrity in action. And then you have that choice also of very practical units, but you're not just learning skills, you're learning the law, you're learning theory, you're learning the history, and all of those things add to the depth of knowledge that you're going to get from, taking 4 units in a graduate certificate, as opposed to a series of short courses where you're dipping in and out, you're not doing any background reading, you're not driven to do well through having the assessments that you need to complete. So it has a lot of integrity itself.
So is this course then designed to be coupled with someone continuing to work, or is this a stop, study, and then restart?
Look, I think you could address it either way, depending on your circumstances, but certainly we've designed it with professionals in mind. So it's a part-time course that can be taken online. Students could take, 1 or 2 units a semester, depending on their circumstances. But this is very much designed to add to the practical experience that professionals already have, or equip someone who currently might be working but wants to transition to this new career where there are burgeoning opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Isabel, can you deep dive into a little bit more about the Financial Integrity Hub? How are students going to get involved with that? How is Macquarie involved with that as well?
Oh, absolutely, Connor. And thanks for throwing back to me, because I do realize I got carried away talking about regulation and didn't mention that actually Macquarie University is the birthplace of the Financial Integrity Hub, and it is a leading research centre in this space. The aim of the Financial Integrity Hub is really to bring together academia, industry, and government and create a collaborative, space for discussion and the sharing of ideas. So it acts as a bit of a think tank. And the Financial Integrity Hub not only produces research in terms of output, but it also engages in, making events. And these events can be quite large in scale and also can be intimate. And those events are really where we see academia, industry, and government come together. So to give you an idea, those events might have, for example, up to 300 people at one time, and you're essentially in a room full of the experts. This is the perfect way to meet professionals in the field, to network. I mean, this is really what sets this course, I think, apart from other courses in financial crime, in that you have access to the Financial Integrity Hub's experts, but also to the events and that engagement with industry, which I guess would propel you in finding a suitable career.
Awesome. And we see that those careers are quite wide. Do people need a background in law to do this course, or is this something that anyone, no matter in which field, can complete?
Yeah, so if prospective students go and have a look at the entry requirements, they'll see the kind of educational background that we're looking for, but it's quite diverse. So students might have experience in business, economics, in law, in health. They're really going to come at this from a whole different angle. So it's not just people with a background in law. But of course, accounting is the other really obvious example. So I think we'll see a wide range of experience and a wide range of educational backgrounds coming into this. And if people have extensive experience in the industry, that can also provide an entry pathway.
Awesome. That's great to know. Now, for students that might jump into this and go, I really enjoyed that, is there opportunities for a further articulation into other courses at Macquarie?
Yes, definitely. So all of these units would be recognised as either as part of our Juris Doctor if students decided they wanted to go on and do a full 3-year coursework degree to qualify them to practice as lawyers. But with another 4 units, you could also graduate with a Master of Laws. So there's definitely options there for taking those units, having them recognised and given academic credit.
Awesome. Perfect. So there's options to either you study or kind of stay involved as you kind of continue down the financial integrity law area. This might be a question for both of you might want to answer. If a student is on the fence going, should I do this course? Is this actually gonna help me in my career? What advice would you give to these students?
Well, I'll give you kind of the academic side of it, and then maybe Isabel can talk about the professional experience side. So from the academic side, there is an option to take a single unit. So if you wanted to, for instance, take the anti-money laundering unit, you could do that as a standalone unit in session 1 next year in 2026. See how that goes. You might decide that's the extent of what you want for the work that you're doing. But if you wanted maybe to change careers, get promotions, you might then say, okay, I'm committed to this. I'm going to go on and take the whole of the grad cert. So that would be possible as well.
Perfect. And Isabel?
Thanks, Connor. I guess from my experience and what I've heard a lot at these Financial Integrity Hub events, for example, is that there really is what's called a war on talent in this space at the moment. And a lot of people in the industry will tell you that they fell into this space, they fell into the industry. And that's because previously there just wasn't, I guess, as much of, well, firstly, the regulated population was significantly smaller, but also that it wasn't really carved out as much of a, I guess, career path as it has become. And it's such a rapidly evolving space. I mean, even when I was in law school, we didn't have the opportunity to study anti-money laundering. And this is what's happening now is a shift where people are increasingly intentionally wanting to go in and work in this space. They're seeking out careers in this field, and academic qualifications are favorable. So that's what we're seeing from an industry perspective. And yeah, as mentioned, the opportunities for career in this space and professional development is significant.
You mentioned before that there's a Financial Integrity Hub workshops, and from the ones that you've gone to, can you just elaborate on what these workshops are?
Sure. So we have, our events, or the Financial Integrity Hub's events, vary from smaller, intimate workshops, which might be seminars and training seminars. So that's that opportunity for academia and industry to come together and share insights and learn together. There's also those larger scale events where you have opportunities to hear from keynote speakers, such as the CEO of Austrac, the regulator, and other significant players and industry leaders in this space. So in terms of that networking opportunity that you gain from attending these events and being part of the hub at Macquarie, I think it's invaluable.
Okay, awesome. So it seems like if students can engage as they do their grad cert in the financial integrity hub and kind of the other offerings around, they get to build that networking ability and kind of connect with up-to-date industry leaders, which is absolutely awesome to hear about. We're now going to move into a time of question and answer. So if anyone has any questions so far, please add them to our question box down below and we'll try get to them. Now, we do have a few questions that have come in. First up is, are there opportunities for practical experience such as internships or even case studies or industry projects through this?
Yeah, so definitely case studies are part of the teaching methodology throughout the course. So you'll be learning from real life examples and you'll be learning from experts who work in the industry itself. But the financial integrity in action is that kind of internship unit where you have that opportunity to do a deep dive into a particular industry. And sometimes it can be designed around where students are currently working. Other times they'll be working on a collaborative project that's industry designed, but led by the academics from Macquarie Law School and the Financial Integrity Hub. And there's usually about 80 hours of placement within that unit for academic credit.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We've actually had a question that is wondering how the Masters of Law pathway is achieved. They said that we were talking about grad cert, and then we also mentioned the Juris Doctor. The students have to do the grad dip first, or go straight into the JD, or is it part of the JD, or can you just do the grad cert?
Look, you can choose how you want to tackle this. So the units within the graduate certificate in financial integrity can count as credit to a Juris Doctor. Now, a Juris Doctor is a 3-year full-time degree. That's a big commitment. A graduate certificate is 1 semester full-time. So it will really depend on students' circumstances and what they want to achieve. But if they want to practice as a lawyer in the future, they would need to be looking at the Juris Doctor.
Perfect.
The Masters, the Masters, Connor, because you mentioned that as well, that's a 1-year full-time degree. So it's double the amount, double the commitment to a graduate certificate. So there are ways to stack those qualifications to move from a graduate certificate to a master's to a Juris Doctor and take all of that academic credit with you. And it would take, quite a bit of time off the Juris Doctor study.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lise. Isabel, this is a question particularly for you. For someone that's interested in this field, what advice would you give them?
Oh, well, it's a great question. My advice would be to take advantage of the training and learning opportunities in this space. So I would say, firstly, it's about signing yourself up and doing as much training as you can. And secondly, I would say it's about networking and meeting people in this space. And what I've learned from my experience in the industry is that the professionals that work in this space are very collaborative. They're very passionate. They're driven by purpose. And, they're always very open for opportunities of mentorship. And so I would absolutely take advantage of those opportunities. And the Financial Integrity Hub is, I guess, an avenue for that.
Awesome. One question that we got was, is there any extracurricular activities and events available to students? Of course, we talked about the events and workshops available through the Financial Integrity Hub. Is there any activities or events that are also available beyond that?
Oh, absolutely. So if you're enrolled in our graduate certificate, you're a student of Macquarie Law School and of Macquarie University. So all of the opportunities that are open to students of the university open up to you. Everything from access to the library, to career events, to networking events, So there's a world of opportunities that come with being a university student, and they're absolutely open to students of the graduate certificate as well.
Awesome. One question we got is, how are the units actually assessed? Are there invigilated tests for this?
Yep.
Particularly, and they've mentioned that there's legal components that aren't part of that Priestley 11. Does that matter?
Yeah, so the assessment will vary with each unit, and the assessment's always designed with a specific purpose and tailored to the content of that unit. But typically, it might be things like writing a policy brief or working in a team to develop a presentation, a mock presentation to partners of a reporting entity. So we try and develop authentic assessment that prepares you for the industry. So there are no sit-down invigilated exams that I'm aware of in any of these units. What we try and do is test your knowledge of the content that you've learnt, because we want to provide this course with integrity as well, and assessment is part of that. But we try and make it authentic assessment that prepares you for the workplace.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to quickly just jump into, for the students or potential students, kind of what to expect. If we haven't gotten to your question already, please scan that QR code where we can give you a one-on-one consultation with our team to provide some more tailored advice. But for those looking to apply, to be considered, you'll need to search using the UAC code, which can be found online and included in your courses as one of your preferences. You'll need proof of Australian or New Zealand citizenship or permanent residency, as well as evidence of your academic qualifications, including any transcripts. And if required, you may also need to provide English language proficiency. We really recommend that you get these documents ready so you can complete your application by the deadline. So our next available intake for this, for the Graduate Certificate in Financial Integrity Law, is Session 2, 2025. The application deadline is the 7th of July, with classes commencing on the 28th of July. So make sure to get your application in before the deadline, just to make sure you secure your place in the program. And with that, we've come to the end of our webinar. Please remember to scan that QR code if you'd like a one-on-one consultation. And thank you so much for joining us this evening, and a very big thank you to Lise and Isabel as well. And we look forward to welcoming you to Macquarie University soon. Take care and have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.